Thousands of convicted criminal inmates in England and Wales are going to be released from prison early, starting today. The UK government is enacting emergency measures to deal with an overcrowding crisis. Cameron McIntosh is on the story. He is right there at Pentonville Prison, a men's prison in central London. And Cameron, this is one of the prisons as part of this emergency measures program. It's part of this. So tell us more about what's happening there and elsewhere as of today.
Yeah, Pentonville Prison here behind me in London. You can see behind me the walls, the bricks, the barbed wire. What you can't see right now out here is the crowding on the inside. Now, last week the BBC got a camera behind those walls, and take a look at these pictures. You'll see it's a very old institution. It goes back to about the 1800s with a capacity of about 1,300, and it's full. Guards that were interviewed describe the situation on the inside as crowded, violent, and messy. And this is just one example of what's been happening in the UK prison system. Basically, the problem is, with one of the highest incarceration rates in Western Europe, more people have been coming into the penal system here in the UK than have been getting paroled out. So as an emergency measure, the government is going to start issuing parole in some cases to some people once they hit the 40% mark of their sentence. This week, that means they'll be releasing about 1,700 people early. Now, the caveat on this is it won't be dangerous offenders, it won't be violent offenders, sexual offenders, but there will be people released early, coming out to make more room in the prison system for people that are coming in. Now, the new Labour government picked up this idea, picked up this policy from the previous government. It says it doesn't like it, but really says it doesn't have any other choice to avoid a crisis. Here now is the UK Justice Minister.
It was the only option on the table, and that is because the alternative to not making this change would have been to allow the prison system to collapse and therefore to allow law and order in this country to collapse.
So about 1,750 extra people to be paroled this week. To put that in context, about 1,000 people are paroled in the UK every week. So this is on top of that. They figure in about 2 months' time, it'll be an extra 5,000 inmates released.
I'm wondering, Cameron, what do people there think about this plan and the crisis that's given rise to the need for the government to take these measures?
Well, there's concern about this, and there's plenty of finger pointing about successive governments really kind of letting the penal system go unchecked. There are a few different variables that are really contributing to this. Right now, the UK has some tougher sentencing laws. There's a backlog of cases in the courts due to the pandemic, and there hasn't been a lot of investment in the prison system in new capacity in recent decades. So that's all really conspiring here. But the concern is in letting some of these people out, that although they are not maybe labeled dangerous offenders, there could still be a threat to the public. Charlie Taylor is the prison watchdog for the UK, the inspector of prisons. Here now, more on his perspective.
They've got nowhere to live. They fall back into drug taking. They've got mental health difficulties already. If they're not getting the support, the treatment, the stable housing, the danger is either they fall back into reoffending or they simply breach their license conditions and end up inside again anyway.
So the concern for many is that people will come out only to reoffend. A big concern between connections between inmates being released and homelessness, a concern that perhaps rather than be homeless, some people would rather just go back to prison. So a lot of people watching this situation in the UK right now, while the Prime Minister vows to clean up a mess, he is a former prosecutor, but says it will take a long time to put more prison capacity into the system. Heather?
Cameron, thank you very much. Cameron McIntosh.